Hi everyone and welcome to my boss guide for Duriel. In Season 4, Blizzard introduced the so-called Tormented versions of all of the boss ladder bosses. They are level 200, they have a lot more damage and HP, and they are much more rewarding. So as soon as you can, you want to try to farm those over the regular versions. Now there is a catch here, and this is the new Tormented debuff mechanic that they've introduced for these bosses. So they're not just very tanky, but you also have to avoid certain abilities in order to not fail the fight. You see this here right now, this is this red skull, and if you get hit by certain abilities, you will stack up extra damage taken, and it ramps up really fast. Usually this allows you like 1 or 2, maybe 3 mistakes throughout the fight, but more than that is most likely at the end of the encounter and you have to try again. So I will show you what it's all about. Now, not every single ability applies this debuff. There are 2 in particular here on the Duriel encounter that are important to be aware of. So the first one is this spit, like this ball spit projectile cone that he does. I'm not sure what to call it, but it's this one. This is the one that he uses right at the start of the encounter when he comes out of the ground for the first time. So those balls, if they hit you, you will get one of those tormented stacks. And you want to make sure that you avoid those at all costs. The easiest way to avoid them is, of course, to run an immunity if you have Blood Mist or Flame Shield or something, or to just anticipate when he's going to use it and then run away and try to go in between the empty gaps that they leave. So the further you are away, the easier it is to dodge them. And if you're right in his face, well, you have no chance to dodge them at all unless you go behind him. So he can turn with you a little bit, but for example, in this case, if he does it again, I could just dash through him as a rogue, and like this I would also be safe. So you can see he's in action here right now. He does like this animation, like he vomits them out basically. And I did exactly this. I just stood still for like another second or so once it started, and then I dashed to the opposite side and he just shoots them out into nowhere basically. So this is the easiest way to avoid that, and you have to be aware that whenever he comes out of the ground, he also does that, and he can be in like random places and just shoot straight into like, you know, the entire like area of the room. So you might have to go very far in order to dodge it. And the second most important mechanic to play around is this ground slam here. You just saw that, it's pretty fast, but I'll show this again. So he does a ground slam with his right claw basically, and he spawns a circle after the slam. This is this here, and this circle will also give you one of those tormented stacks. So you have to get out of that as soon as possible. So if you can read his attack, then it's not that hard to do, even with just an evade. You can just get evade out of it basically with 1 evade, and you don't even have to walk very much, or maybe do like a double evade. Or again, use something like a dash, a teleport or so, and just get out of there really fast. There's a bit of a delay before this ground circle explodes, and this explosion applies the stack. So I will show this one more time. It is always the same animation. He does the right slam into the ground, and then there's the circle, and you have to get out of that circle. The rest of the encounter is fairly easy mode, as long as you can survive his auto attacks just fine. You bring a bit of healing, and of course capped poison resistances and capped armor. So you want to do that. But other than that, you can actually just kind of tank him quite easily. And the best way to do that is to actually just take him to one of the corners or like to the edge of the arena basically, and let him face outwards. So you have your back to the wall, so that whenever he knocks you around, for example, he knocks you into the wall like this one here, for example, and you can just keep DPSing, and then you just read his animations and see either he does the spit or he does the slam with the circle, and you just get out of there and keep tanking him into the wall. And if you can survive his auto attacks consistently and get out of those attacks, then you have almost won the fight. However, as you can see in this clip here, for example, I was careless, and then Duriel came out of the ground and he immediately hit me with this ball spit, and I got one of those stacks. So this is something to be aware of here. Like whenever he comes out of the ground, you want to be ready and then dodge immediately away from it. Besides the spit and the ground circles and give you those stacks, there is one other kind of important attack, and this is this one here. This is the eat animation. So it doesn't give you one of the tormented debuffs. However, it can do a lot of damage to you if you don't have a lot of toughness. So you gotta be aware, you don't want to get eaten by Duriel. And I can show this attack again. He does like a huge wind up swing with like taking one of his claws behind his back, and then he does like a huge impale and then slowly puts you in his belly and spits you out again. So it's this animation here. If you have an unstoppable, you can avoid getting eaten. You can just like unstoppable your way out, or again, you just walk away when you see that he does the big swing and then the follow-up impale. Other than that, Duriel doesn't really have all that many threatening mechanics. However, it can ramp up the damage if you have those stacks. You're gonna be in trouble. So he doesn't really do much damage by default, but there is a lot of stuff going on, and there is a lot of chip damage coming in, or dot damage from like ground effects and so on. So you want to be aware of that. And that already concludes the guide. It's pretty straightforward encounter as long as you understand how to tank him next to the walls and then try to not stack up those Tormented debuffs. And with that, I wish you good luck in Season 4. Hope you enjoyed this guide and see you guys next time.